Okay, in section 7.3, we're going to talk about annual percentage rate. So let's begin by discussing a situation. Say you borrow $3,000. At I'm just going to say R equals 0.1, 10%, and you do this for 3 years. So you have a 3-year loan. Well, if we did a simple interest analysis here after 3 years to see what you owe, let's see, our principal is $3,000. Our interest rate 0.1, it was spelled out, and our time is 3 years. So at the end of 3 years, we owe $3,000 plus this interest that I'm going to calculate, which is our principal, 3,000 times 0.1 for R times 3 for T. So it's pretty simple. $900. Well, that's pretty straightforward. But there's an issue. And let me just say here, I guess, the total amount would then be $3,900 that you owe at 3 years. There's an issue here. And the issue is, usually lending companies will split this up into payments. Let's say you have annual payments. Okay? Which means that each year of the 3 years, you get a pay stub book, and each year you have to pay $1,300, which is 1/3 of 39. So 1,300 times 3 equals 3,900. Which means you have 1,000 plus 300, where the 300 is the interest each year you're paying. And this is the payment on the principal. Well, that means then, so this is the first year. The second year you do the same thing, another 1,300, and the third year you do the same thing, another 1,300, for a total of 3,900. But here's the issue. Each year you're paying back 1,000. So each year the amount of principal you owe is smaller. But yet you're getting charged interest on the full principal every year. And, well, this means that you're not exactly paying an interest rate of 0.1, you're paying a higher interest rate. So let's focus in on these interest payments you make. So the first year, you owe the whole thing, $3,000. And the rate was 0.1. Well, actually, what we're going to do is we're going to try to calculate what the effective rate is. So the first year you owe $3,000, and the time is a year. So we're not going to put anything in for R. Now the second year, you've paid off $1,000, so you only owe $2,000. But some mysterious R here, effective R, that we have yet to calculate, is in place. And then the fourth year for interest, you only owe $1,000. In the third year, you only owe $1,000 now by the end of the third year, and this is your interest. So if we sum all three of these together, we'll end up with 3,000 R plus 2,000 R plus 1,000 R. Now we know the total interest that we paid was $900. Because we pay $300 of interest every year, and we did that 3 times. So the person who set up this loan with you is telling you that they are charging you an interest rate of 10%, but actually, since you're paying off part of the principal, we can calculate what your interest rate is. So this is 3,000 plus 2,000 plus 1,000 R is 6,000 R. So R equals 900 over 6,000 equals 0.15. So really, your effective interest rate more accurately represented is 15% instead of 10%. Well, this is what we call our annual percentage rate. We have a word for this, the annual percentage rate. An annual percentage rate is a rate that takes into the account the fact that you are paying off some of the principal. And it's a more fair way of representing the interest you're paying. And this is why the government mandates that lenders tell you what your annual percentage rate is when you make loans, when you take out loans. Okay, so to calculate the annual percentage rate with this process, a little bit cumbersome and time consuming. So for this class, what we'll do is we'll just use an equation that does a pretty good job of representing the annual percentage rate. And that equation is 2NR over N plus 1. And here, R is our, let's just say our quoted interest rate. In the example above, it would be 10%. And N is the number of payments. There's one caveat here. The number of payments, we need to make sure that it's equally spaced time. Like, for example, once a month. But it's always once a month, once a year, things like that. So let's just jump into an example here. Okay, so let's say you buy socks in bulk and borrow $1,329 to do this, which you're going to pay off over 3 years at 15% interest rate, annual interest rate. So just for your information, I'll calculate the interest here. It's not necessary, though, to calculate our annual percentage rate, but I just want to show it as a demonstration. So interest equals principal times rate times time. So we pulled our values from the problem in here, and you end up owing $598.05 to the bank. Okay, the bank wants you to make monthly payments on this. So take the total value, $598 of interest you owe, and then divide it by 3 times 12, or 36 months, because that's how many months in a year, which is $16.62 monthly interest. In addition to that, so your monthly payment on the premium is $36.92. You add these two together, your total monthly payment is $53.54. Now notice, every month you're paying $36.92 off the premium. By the 35th month, you have paid off everything but $36 of the original $1,329 that you borrowed, but yet you're being charged only 15% interest. And this value, $36.92, though, is a lot less than the $1,329. So let's calculate the APR, which will end up being a much more realistic number for the actual interest you are charged. And to do that, we just simply use this problem and the simple equation we have for APR, which is this. Here, N equals 36, and R, of course, was 0.14. So this is 36 months, or the number of times you make payments. So then we just plug these numbers into this equation, and we end up with 0.292, or 29.2%. So instead of 15%, you're actually paying 29.2%. And in a nutshell, that's what APR does. It tells you what your effective interest rate is, and it's going to always be higher.